It's the Extremist movie debate. And tonight we're talking 2018's 18th Tomb Raider.
I'm Ethan.
And I'm Aaron.
One of us is going to love it, one of us is going to hate it.
He's probably going to hate it.
I hate it.
See?
Damn, son.
Psychic.
You're like 4 for 4. I don't know what this movie's about, so one of you guys has to do the spoiler.
Guys, don't like think that we're really strong and then never talk about it and then entomb us just so that somebody can come along later and open up our dead corpse and then nothing fucking happens.
Hey, when your dad says burn the notes, when your dad's will says burn the notes, burn the fucking notes.
Spoilers ahead.
Hey, we're going to leave you a note that says spoilers. Don't burn it. All right, and this movie currently holds a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ethan, since you...
I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He hates it. I love it.
All right, Aaron, since you love it. So does that mean I ask you the con question? I forgot.
You ask him the love question.
Okay, cool. Yeah, here we go.
Wait, no, you ask him the con question. Sorry, because
Yeah,
it's bad. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Aaron loves it. Perfect. Don't worry, guys. We know what we're doing. We're professionals.
Got
We
this.
are.
All right.
This is only
Aaron-
the fifth one we've done today.
Yeah, Aaron, this first question comes to you. This is from James B. of RealViews.com. James says, I wouldn't mind playing the game based on the movie, but was less enthused about the movie based on the game. So we've had a successful transition from like comic books to comic book movies. Like, where do you think, the transition between video games to video game movies is going wrong, and how do you think, like, they can be potentially fixed? You have 45 seconds.
Well, I think they have traditionally gone wrong, and I think largely that is that people have not seen them as worth the effort of putting a lot of time and storytelling into. They're very effects driven, and they're targeted at a really young market that doesn't care about good acting and good storytelling. I think that is a demographic that's starting to shift, and I think it's starting to shift with this movie. I think there are motivations that are going on that aren't just as ridiculous and cartoonishly evil as, like, we're going to destroy the world, blah, blah, blah. It is a little more complex than that, and so I think that is actually happening with a movie like Tomb Raider.
Okay, remember you hate it. Ethan, you have 30 seconds to respond.
He loves it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You do love it.
I hate it.
Yeah,
You're
see?
good, man.
All right.
Got it.
Yeah. No, I think that as far as video games go, I think video game movies are bad, and this is perfectly fine because it takes its time. However, video games have great stories now, and people are always talking about, like, oh, I want to make BioShock, I want to make Halo, but they gotta understand those stories exist to facilitate and elevate the action. And in this movie, the best action scene is in the first 5 minutes with a fucking bicycle chase. Then this is problematic. So cool, it took its time. Too bad it's bloody boring.
Bicycle chase was fucking awesome, though.
It was like
Thanks,
way
Ethan.
better
That's
than
your
Premium
time.
Rush.
And, whoa.
I know, them's fighting words with Joe, I get it.
Also, you just used the phrase bloody boring. I didn't know you were British.
Well, this movie's British, it rubs off on you.
All right. Ethan, since you hate this movie, this next question comes to you. This is from Joshua Rothkopf of Time Out. Joshua says, there's no way to hate a movie that has spiked poles, booby-trapped caves, and zombies, but you can fault it for not trying as hard as it should. So, so basically he's saying you can love this because it's a popcorn flick, much like, the Transformers series or Avengers of Ultron, that don't really have a lot to say about things. What do you feel, how do you feel about the importance of, like, a popcorn flick to turn your brain off, to distract yourself from these movies that actually have something to say? You have 45 seconds.
I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting some escapism as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. We've talked about how much we were all perfectly fine with the Power Rangers movie as opposed to, what the fuck was that dumb racist movie that we all watched that hated?
Transformers 2?
No. I recall 0 zombies in this movie, so I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know what he's talking
I was
about.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah. I got none. But really, this movie, again, should be more about action. We're looking at a movie where we don't understand the premise. It's basically set on 3 different set pieces. You've got a boat, a cliffside, and a tomb that's like 2 rooms. It's missing all of the fun of the adventure. You have like Raiders of the Lost Ark, or even the fucking Da Vinci Code or National Treasure, where it's fun because you have the audience solving the puzzles along with the characters.
Thanks, Ethan. Gotta cut you off there. I'm sorry. I was really interested in where that was going. Aaron, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I would actually disagree with that. There's more sets than that. There's the whole chase on the island. So the island is explored a little bit more than that, and it actually very much has a Indiana Jones kind of feel. Maybe you can credit it or discredit it if you want to call it like too derivative of Indiana Jones, but there is very much the saving the father, solving the puzzles, the things that she's going through to do that. So yeah, I did get a feel of that, which again points me towards comic book or not comic video game movies moving more in a direction of actually.
Thanks, Aaron. I got to cut you off there. I'm sorry, but you guys have 2 minutes to discuss and go.
Yeah, I know. The penitent man shall pass. I did think of The Last Crusade this entire movie, but what The Last Crusade has is, again, people solving the puzzles alongside with the characters. In this movie, we don't see the stupid little clock hands on the map that give the coordinates until she points them out and somebody says, oh, those are clock hands. Like, we need to see this stuff. We need to establish, like, oh, we need to see the anagrams on the wall and then be able to figure it out for 5 minutes before somebody else reveals what it is. So, because that's the fun. That's the fun of these adventure movies.
So when you watch Last Crusade, when he goes to step on the wrong, you knew that
I don't know shit,
that it wasn't.
But I
I
like that my mind is running, thinking, what the fuck could it be? What does the penitent man shall pass mean? How do they spell Jehovah in that language? Like, I get that. That's fun. It's something I certainly don't have the answers to, and I want the movie to answer for me.
And that's literally
but in
exactly
this movie,
what the movie
they
does.
do not present that at all.
Absolutely.
In this movie,
when
they present the
room.
issue and then immediately solve it. And then there's like, oh, how the fuck do we get into this? Laura just goes over there and just moves some shit.
Of her trying
we don't
to
even
get
know
the right colored light to stop the trap.
What she is doing. She's just turning knobs. We don't know what any of the symbols mean, but she does, and it's cool because she does. That's great. So she turns it and it opens up. Actually, I'm sorry, it collapses for whatever reason. That seemed like a very not useful door.
Yeah, the colored crystals is literally exactly what you were just describing. It's totally her trying to figure out the color and solve the puzzle.
In
that we are there along
we
with
have that. Cool, great. The tomb is about 2 rooms. I don't know what chase through the forest you're talking about. You're talking about when she sets up distractions around the camp so that she can just kill a couple people with a bow and arrow.
Away and then fights the dude and finds her dad, survives the plane. You know, like 30
when she
minutes
falls
of the movie.
in the river and then the river takes her across the island. That's not much of a chase.
Yeah,
and then she gets,
And then she gets found by the hunter guy who she has to kill. Yeah. And then she follows her dad to the cliff and climbs up the cliff. So
all
basically traverses the entire island.
In the dark. And we do not see other parts of the island. At least in the video game, there are other climates on the island. Fucking parts of it take place on a tower in the snow. We don't get any of that in this. We don't know who the slave people are. They say they're fishermen that were lost, but yet we establish that it's almost impossible to get to this island. So who are all of these people? Why do we care about them?
I'm sorry, I stopped listening when he said time was up.
That's cool, I get it.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Aaron, for being the most professional person on this show.
And that's really a low bar.
It is. All right, what do you guys really feel about this movie?
It's all right.
I think it's boring. It's perfectly good as a video game movie because it's not horrible, which is great.
No, that's legit. Like, they're almost all terrible.
And it gives a lot of hope for something better. I think everybody in it does a good job. I think that they play their parts really well. Alicia Vikander is very good in it.
Absolutely.
I think that it doesn't hit a video game genre because there's not much action in this.
There really isn't. It's really surprising. And the villain is wasted. I can't remember that guy's name. He's a fantastic actor, and there's no reason for him to be in it.
Walter Hoggins?
He's something like that.
Walt Scoggins.
Yeah, something like that. Goggins.
He's the dude from Django.
Yeah, the guy who's in Django and Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
and he's completely wasted, and there's no reason for him to be in that movie.
Yeah, and they even set up like a cool motivation for him, like, oh, he's stuck on this island too, and he's all mad because he just wants to get the fuck off of it, and he has to find this thing to get the fuck off of it. But like, they don't really develop that at all. He just ends up being an asshole who shoots an old man just to be a threat
for no reason. Yeah, exactly.
Walton Goggins.
Oh, we were so close.
Close.
That's not an easy to remember.
No.
So we're all okay.
But so you don't really go, because I do believe that there's definitely potential for good video game movies.
Yeah.
And those video games are ones that have stories that just go a little bit beyond just a boring, here's your character in this setup. And they're like, even something stupid like Halo is like, it's kind of an interesting backstory. But you don't want to focus on that backstory. You want to focus on the character running around a hallway shooting things.
This feels like a crappy Iron Man to me.
And,
sure.
And
that's what I would call it, is like a slightly crappier Iron Man. Like it's the beginning of something.
We touched on it before we recorded, and like they're trying to like make these like elaborate like stories for video game movies, where the game that this movie is based off of had like a perfectly fine story. You take out the supernatural elements. It's a first time like explorer who crash lands on a island that's full of cannibals, and she's trying to escape. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like, but you don't need a lot to make like a good video game movie, and I think they think you do, which is unfortunate.
But then they lean heavily into the adventure aspect of it, which, as I said, does fall short. Like, you want to be able to solving these puzzles alongside of them,
and I had the same.
There aren't any.
I had the same thought watching. I was like, "Oh, cool! I've seen this movie. It was called Last Crusade." Like, it was very Last Crusade.
But even then, like they're following it step by step. Like all of that stuff is just the division.
Yeah, it was like they rushed. Exactly, it's like they were rushing through it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what would you guys rate the movie? And then second, what's your favorite video game movie?
I'll give it a 6. It's perfectly accessible and fine. It just doesn't really satisfy in any direction.
That's exactly what I would say. I'd give it a soft 6 with a little bit of noise, but not a lot. About that level. And and sadly, I would say that makes this my favorite video game movie.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of all the video game movies because my instinct is just to say Mortal Kombat because it's fun.
Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Super Mario Brothers, Double Dragon.
We've already done Super
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. I love that movie. That was good. That was good.
I haven't seen Tomb Raider, but I'm going Mortal Kombat for mine. Where can we find us?
Oh, here.
Where can they find
thanks
us?
for watching.
We know where we are.
Like and subscribe and things. Tell your friends. We're also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, emd.panspending.com, artificialwood.panspending.com. Thank you.
I heard something about Patreon.
That's never going to happen.
There's murmurings on the Twitter sphere, but we don't respond to anything on Twitter. Good night.